Hey, my name's Chance. Welcome to the Motocast. Today we're going to go over the pros and cons of getting a Chinese dirt bike over a used Japanese or European model. We'll be comparing two of what I believe to be the most common model 125cc 4-stroke dirt bikes, the X Pro X9 and the Honda CRF 125F. The X Pro X9 can be found for around $600 to $800, usually with a large shipping fee of around $300. And the Honda CRF 125F can be found on Facebook Marketplace for around $1,200 to $1,500 if the bike requires no maintenance, or can be found for as little as $500 if you are willing and skilled enough to get the bike running properly. Chinese dirt bikes often have a bad reputation for their quality control and build quality, as well as comfort and ergonomics. It's not uncommon to hear stories of certain Chinese dirt bikes no longer running after a day of use due to quality control. I believe it's kind of a gamble, whether you're going to get a good running bike or a permanent fixer-upper. With that out of the way, let's talk about frame quality. Honda CRF 125F frames are made from twin spar type steel. These frames have a long reputation of really being capable of taking a beating, although it really depends on the condition of the bike. Be sure not to purchase one with a rusted frame. X Pro X9 frames are made of cradle type steel, and it's tube steel. They don't necessarily have a good reputation or a bad one either. Honda slightly wins this category. Now, let's move on to the wheels. Both models have 17 by 14 size wheels and are made of aluminum, and both have stainless steel spokes and nipples. This category is a draw. Next, we'll talk about fender quality. The X Pro X9 fenders are made of solely plastic from my understanding, as well as Honda fenders, although the ergonomics of these fenders are different, but we'll get into that later. Both models also have a oil coating for easier cleaning. Now, let's talk about the motors. The X Pro has a Zongshin 4-stroke air-cooled motor. It seems to be pretty reputable and a reliable motor. It claims to produce a top speed of 45 miles per hour. The CRF also claims 45 miles per hour and has all the same features as the Honda. This category is another draw. Now that we have the main components out of the way, let's talk about the smaller things that really seem to vary quality-wise. Let's start with the carburetor. The X Pro carburetor is known for being unreliable. It is recommended to install a nibby carburetor for increased reliability, while the Honda uses a very reliable 20mm carb. That should never give you trouble as long as it's clean. Honda wins this one. Now, let's talk about braking systems. The X Pro uses a front and rear hydraulic brake system. They are known to be pretty solid brakes. The CRF uses a hydraulic single disc brake and back 95mm mechanical brake. These are recommended for tougher riding conditions. Honda wins this one as well. Next up, the exhaust system. The CRF uses a hexagon-shaped exhaust that produces a deep but tolerable sound and seems to be pretty efficient. The X Pro uses a generic circular exhaust, and it's recommended you install an aftermarket exhaust that has better efficiency. Honda once again wins this one. Now we'll talk about the intake system. The X Pro intake seems to have no sweet spot for airflow, so an aftermarket intake is recommended. The Honda intake system shouldn't give you any issues. Once again, another win for Honda. Last but not least, we're going to go over the electrical system. X Pro electrical systems can either give you no issues or could require maintenance to get electricity where you need it. This is where X Pro's quality control often fails the most. Honda reliability is, in my opinion, the best in the world, so you can guarantee there won't be issues there as long as the wires weren't damaged by the previous owner. Another important thing to mention is X Pro dirt bikes have a reputation to arrive with missing screws and bolts. Depending on the vendor you choose to purchase the bike from, always be sure to take a solid evaluation of the reviews on the website. Alright, now for the recap. It's up to you to decide your preference. There isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer. Although X Pro dirt bikes can be a gamble at getting all your parts and correctly manufactured parts, and I highly recommend getting the smaller parts aftermarket because those are the ones that make the most difference and can turn a Chinese dirt bike just as reliable and powerful as a Japanese model if done properly. A used Japanese bike can also be a gamble as well. Adequately test the bike before purchase. That's the end of the Motocast. Hope you enjoyed and found this useful and informative. See you next time.